My name is Chris-Beth Cowie, and I'm the founder of AWYF and the host of BizGrams. Each weekday at 11:30, I have the privilege of bringing to you awesome entrepreneurs who are doing amazing things in the community. And today we have the privilege and pleasure to have Adebola, the founder of the Afro Women and Youth Foundation, as well as a counselor at Women Support Network of the York region. Adebola, thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I had a little chance to read about what you're doing with your foundation. Impactful, powerful work. Do you want to just tell us a little bit more what it is all about?
Okay, thank you. I'll do that. Afro Women and Youth Foundation, I started about 2 years ago because of the experience that my daughter had at TDSB, that's Toronto District School Board. She was the only Black girl in class, and friends in class would say things like she's not allowed to play with them, you know, so she was always alone at recess by herself. It was very difficult, you know, when you don't have friends in class as a new immigrant. That continued for a long time. I went to school to speak with a teacher, and she told me, she said there's really nothing she could do about that because she's not able to force other kids to play with my child. So I think that was very, very sad. And at that point, I decided what I was going to do was to support my child. So I decided to start mentoring her. I decided to be a coach to her. And I would tell her every morning when she's going to school. Most of us people are actually people who also came to Canada like you. So don't allow anybody pull you down. Don't allow anybody say nasty things to you. You have to be able to speak up for yourself. You have to be confident. So, and she started gradually speaking up for herself. She became bold. She became confident. And I saw how she moved from being very sad, not wanting to go to school, to someone who would, you know, speak up, someone who was providing support to other newcomers in her class and even in school. And after like 2 years, we moved to another area, and then because she had developed leadership skills at the TDSB, so when we got to York Region District School Board, she got the award for the most confident child in grade 5. And that was like a really, really big deal for me and the family, because we saw how she, you know, transitioned from being very timid, very shy, someone who couldn't speak up for herself, but now she had learned self-advocacy, she had built resilience, you know, so we wanted to be able to do that, you know, for more people. And I spoke with a lot of newcomer Black women, and I saw that many of them too also struggle with the fact that they're not even sure how to, you know, support their children in the school system. So I decided to step in to provide that support to women and also to young girls. And that was actually how Afro Women and Youth Foundation started.
Hey, that is such a powerful story. And I can relate. As an immigrant myself, I came to Canada when I was only 13 years old. And my accent from Trinidad and Tobago was much stronger at that point. And people, what did you say? Are you speaking English? And so I could relate to that. And, you know, thankfully to my awesome parents as well, and some of the teachers instilling that value of self-worth, self-confidence, putting myself in positions of leadership so that I can overcome, right? And it's really powerful to hear that your daughter, and because of your wisdom and insightfulness and being beside her through this trial, she's where she's at today. And it's great to know that you're doing that for other women and girls who are maybe experiencing similar barriers throughout their time coming to Canada as well. So that is so impactful.
Thank you.
Yes. And so I know a huge portion of the program focuses on life skill development, leadership, and mentorship. What does that look like for someone who's coming into your space?
Okay, so when we started, it was we were having workshops like, you know, how to handle racism, how to speak up for yourself. But over time we developed about 13 courses. So right now we when they come to us, they can take from the first one to the 13th one. So we have that structure right now. It wasn't like that at the beginning, but as we did needs assessment, as we had focus group sessions, we're able to identify the needs of the women and of the girls, And now we have designed those courses and they're able to take them, one time, yeah. So that's been very, very helpful.
Hey, that's really great. And what I love is that you said it wasn't like that at the beginning. And
Yeah.
sometimes when we have a bright idea, people don't take action because they're like, it needs to be perfect now. And you talk about that gradual, coming together, hearing and listening to the needs of the people and letting that inform what your next decision is all about. And I am so proud of what you've accomplished to date. And I'm sure the women, the refugees, the new immigrants, and the vulnerable girls and women that you're working with, transformation is happening in their life. That is really powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so I'm just curious, what got you, I understand the genesis of this organization and foundation coming to life. Is this your first entrepreneurial venture? Have you done others before? And who inspired you to start on this journey?
I've always been in the field of social enterprise. I came from Nigeria, and in Nigeria, I worked with women, young girls. I'm sorry, excuse me. So we would go to schools and we would speak to youth about the need to develop skills. And we had community programs. So I've always done things like this in the past. And I think I'm inspired by my mentor, who is a Nigerian also. And she's the founder of Field of Skills and Dreams. She empowers women and youth. She has different programs for them. She has vocational skills in so many different areas that they do. So I worked with her for I think that was for about 2 or 3 years. And I saw that she was making change. I saw that she was empowering people. And I could see how people go into the community and transform their own lives. Like they go into business after acquiring those skills, and they're also able to employ other people. So I saw that you could start something small, and then eventually it begins to get bigger and bigger. And then you begin to, make that social impact in community. So yeah.
Hey,
so it's not my first.
Hey,
yeah,
hey, and that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And what I love is that you have that genesis story. You have a mentor that you wanted to emulate. You saw the change and progression and the transformation that was happening in community, and you were inspired to continue to do that on your own. So that is really a great story in itself. I'm curious, along the way, what are some of the challenges that you've experienced, and how did you overcome in terms of establishing your foundation?
Okay, so I think my major challenge when I started was the fact that I couldn't facilitate all the sessions by myself. So I needed to ask people for support. And I said, so the first thing I did was to see, okay, who is also passionate about making this change? Who would be willing to, support my work and not feel like it's too much to ask of them. So I sat down and I made a list of people who I think will be interested in what I do, and I decided to reach out to them. I sent emails. I asked for a meeting with them, and fortunately for me, about 5 people were interested. And these are some of my professors from Seneca College. People who understand the intergenerational impact of anti-Black racism and wanted to, be in that space to provide support. So I got those people, and they've been very, very supportive. Another challenge I had when I was starting out was the fact that there was no money. So when you're supporting people, there's some things you still have to do. Like I needed to be able to, give some of them bus tickets. We needed to, make a lunch at some of the sessions and all of that. But there was no money. So I started looking for funds. I started writing, for people to support. Some people, friends and families, donated, but that wasn't also enough. So I was still asking, writing, trying to, do 1 or 2 grant applications here and there. I had none that went through at the time that I started out. But recently, I got one, which is also a sign that sometimes when you start something and it's challenging, you just have to keep doing it, be persistent. because you never know when that big break or when that good thing will happen. So I recently got this email that says, oh, you applied to this funding last year, and now you've been selected. So can you send your bank details and all of that? And I'm like, oh, that's so good. Like I even forgot that I did that application, you know. So and it came back, and they said that we won the funding. So we will be getting that, and that would also help us to be able to do more in the community.
Hey, that is so powerful. So what I got from that was getting others to buy into your dream, because you can't do it alone. And also that act of persistence. You may knock on one door, you're submitting grants, you're trying to do different things, and nothing works. But what I took was, you know, you're also refining yourself and keeping the momentum. You're learning. I'm sure your first grant that you wrote to this last grant that you wrote, total transformation as well, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So